Hey everyone, welcome to a very special episode of Foodie Gourmets. For Christmas, we are going to be doing a family recipe of mine. We're going to be doing a Harvey Wallbanger cake, which is a good orange cake. I think you're going to love it. Join me soon. All right, hey everybody, it is time to work on our Harvey Wallbanger cake. This is a bundt cake, so we've got this nice bundt pan. This is a hand-me-down from my mom. Actually, this recipe is a family recipe, so it's something I love to do around the holidays. That's when most people cook anyway, because you don't mind heating the kitchen up, warms it up a little bit, smells great. So what's nice is this is a really heavy bundt pan. I mean, this thing is thick. So if you have a thin one, you just got to watch your oven temperatures and stuff a little bit. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's not the space age NASA super modern Teflon. It's just kind of the pretty good Teflon. So we are going to grab our nonstick spray here, and we're really going to heavily spray this guy. I mean, you're probably going, oh, that's a lot. But this pan, absolutely, you need a lot. There is nothing worse than having a cake, doing the whole thing, getting it going, getting it in the oven, and you go to take it out and it falls apart because it won't come out of the pan. So this is really heavily sprayed. I'm going to set this aside just so it's out of our way. And then we are going to work on our ingredients. Another great thing about this, we take recipes like this to our friend's house, to our family's house. Holidays, you want to spend time with these people. You don't want to be in the kitchen for 6 hours working on something that's demolished in 10 minutes for dessert. So what's great about this recipe, it is literally 8 ingredients, store-bought mix, but with a lot of twist on this, and it's going to taste like nothing you've ever tasted out of a mix. So we're going to start with an orange cake mix. If you look really closely, this is a lemon cake mix. Depending on where you live and the time of year you want to make this cake, you may not always see the orange cake mixes. So we're going to use a lemon, perfectly acceptable substitute, and we're just going to change a couple ingredients up that's going to kind of boost up, bulk up that orange flavor. So another tip, I've got a little mesh guy here. One thing about cakes, anything like that, you want them to be light, airy, tasty. So by sifting all of our dry ingredients, we're increasing the amount of air that's in the mix. So when we put everything in, we're going on the mixer here. It's going to give us a lot more volume in the oven. It's going to be nice, light, airy, fluffy, tasty, yummy. You're going to lay in bed and eat this all night. So we're just going to dump this in here. You can see we've got a lot of lumps in here. So that's the other reason we want to do this, is get the lumps out. Come out of there. You're trying to stay in there. Next ingredient, we have a instant French vanilla pudding mix. You do make sure you use the instant. If you get the pudding that you got to cook, this is not going to turn out. And don't write me because you use the wrong stuff. Go ahead and throw that in here. All right, I don't want this all over the kitchen, so I'm just going to grab this and I'm just going to try to push this through here. Smells great. I mean, even in the mixed state. This is a little extra effort. A lot of people just dump everything right in the bowl, grab the mixer. Another thing, you don't need a stand mixer like this. You can use just the regular, your mom's, grandma's hand mixer. It's going to work fine. We've got this, so we might as well use it. While I'm doing this, what we can talk about is, because we are using a lemon cake mix instead of the orange, just couldn't get any at our local store this time of year. Usually the holidays they do have them, but just they didn't get a shipment in or they stopped ordering them. We're going to use, there is alcohol in this cake, so if you don't like alcohol, I don't know why you're watching me, but so we have Galliano, which is a fun specialty liqueur. And we're going to use orange vodka instead of regular vodka because that's going to boost up the citrus and the orange flavors. Harvey Wallbanger. Now this really is, it's a drink like your mom, your grandma, your dad, your grandpa. They probably have it. If you're my age, you probably have never heard of them. Harvey Wallbangers are actually really good. We were on a cruise last year, and that was a drink of the day, Harvey Wallbanger. Hey, we've never had this before, let's have one. It's as good as this cake is. Almost. Again, time consuming, but the more we break up these parts of the cake mix, the more little air cells are actually in the mix. All those air cells can expand as it bakes, and that's what gives you the rise to your cake. If this is just dense and closed and tight, and you go to bake it, you're gonna have a cake that's, you know, this high as opposed to this high. This is probably a point that you folks really like time lapse, that, you know, you didn't have to sit and see how long this really took me. And the other nice part is if you have any funkiness in the mix from store-bought products, you know, that stays behind. All right, so we got all of our dry ingredients in there. Just dump that in there. All right, now it is time for our wet ingredients. So what we're gonna do is, first thing is frozen orange juice concentrate, frozen. And we need a half cup of this. Mine's a little liquidy from being under the lights, but you don't want to use just orange juice because that has a much more diluted flavor. So let's see if we can do this without making too much of a mess. I think I need my little magic spoon here. I'm going to move this out of the way. Grab my little magic spoon and stir up my concentrate here. It's still pretty cold. There we go. Now I am not going to wear the orange juice. All right, so we got our half cup. We have a half cup of water. We need some oil. This is kind of per mix, so 1/3 cup of oil. Want to make sure we're using like a vegetable oil or canola oil. This is not a olive oil cake, so we would not want to be using olive oil, at least for this one. I got a little extra orange juice in there. We need to get our eggs in here. We've got 4 eggs. If you're a little worried about cracking eggs and getting shell and things, you can certainly crack these just into the bowl. I'm usually pretty good about not doing that, so I'm just going to go straight into my mix. Sometimes people are worried about bad eggs too, but our eggs are actually local, so I don't think I've gotten a bad egg here in 11 years. So first time for everything, right? I shouldn't tempt fate. 3 and 1 more. 4. And now for the good stuff. We've got Galliano and vodka. Normally, my mom, when she made this, there was not this thing called flavored vodka. Ooh, foo-foo-y flavored vodka. So we're gonna use orange vodka. Right now we've got our Galliano. 3 ounces, which if you don't have something that is 3 ounces, little 1/8 cup, that's 1 ounce. Remember, 8 ounces to a cup. So we got 1, 2, and 3. And again, orange vodka. You know, speaking of orange vodka, I should try to make a screwdriver with orange vodka sometime. That sounds good. I think I need to do that tomorrow. All right, so I think we have everything. We have our cake mix, our pudding, orange juice, frozen orange juice, concentrate, water, oil, eggs, Galliano, and vodka. So 8 ingredients, no problem. Let's get our mixer open here. Gonna bring this over. We have a paddle attachment. Paddle, not the whisk or the whip, paddle. If you're using the handheld mixer, the regular 4-prong meter thingies, yeah, same thing. This is gonna mix for 5 minutes. Another thing, we aerated the mix. We wanna make sure we have lots of air cells in there. We want to make sure we mix this for a good long time too, because it's beating more air in there as it goes. But we want to make sure we don't have any dry, crusty bits on the side there that's not integrated. So I'm going to run this for about a minute. We're going to come back and scrape it down and then run it for the other 4 minutes. All right, we've got a minute on our mix here. You can see it's kind of a nice light color. It's mixed pretty well, but I don't know if you look in here, there's quite a bit of, some of the mix on the sides here. So I'm gonna get that in there. I'm gonna go underneath and make sure I stir that up underneath there. And you're gonna see when we're done, the color of this is actually gonna lighten up because it's gonna get more and more air in there. This is different, cakes are different than bread. We don't have to worry about gluten forming here because there's not a lot of flour, not a lot of protein here, so we can just beat and beat and beat, and this isn't gonna get tough. If we were making bread, the more you go there, the gluten just starts developing, it gets nice and crusty, nice and, it's got a good tooth feel. That's great for bread, not so good for a cake. So let me just give this a little bit, another stir here. Hang on to my batter. Don't wanna wear it. And if you want, you've probably got some dry stuff on the edge here. Get a little of that down. And let's give this another 4 minutes. I should say I'm going at pretty high speed here, which you're gonna see when I turn it back on. You don't wanna just barely be stirring this thing. It needs to really get some air in here. All right, we've got 5 full minutes of mixing here. I think you saw there in the pan how much lighter this is. It actually looks pretty orange. It's kind of yellowy orange. If we were using the orange cake mix, the orange that you would be smelling off this is just amazing. So right now I'm gonna wipe this down. Don't want to lose any of this batter we worked so hard on. I'm not gonna be super crazy about getting all this off because, I'm sorry, for as old as I am, as long as I can remember, cake batter does not go down in the sink. Yeah. I don't worry about the little bit of raw egg in here. Your mileage may vary, as they say. But I'm just gonna scrape most of this down. Haha, a little bit for me. All right, get this open here. Got our pan over here again that we pre-prepped. Again, this is a pretty heavy bundt pan, so what's great about heavy pans, they hold the heat really well. They heat very, very evenly. You don't have to worry about spots that get too hot or too cold or anything like that. I'm gonna turn this around so you can see. Try to pour. I'm gonna pour a little bit and stop. I'm gonna try not to get it up on the sides real bad. Pour a little bit over here, kind of work away or around. Nice light color. Again, the more air we get in there, that air is, air is clear, at least in my neck of the woods. So you tend to get, anything you mix is gonna be lighter. Another reason I like to do cakes and things like this and desserts for the holidays, you can do this at home ahead of time so you can enjoy your time with your family, your friends, whoever you're talking to, whoever's house you are at. Again, I wanna save a little bit of this for me. Haha. Flexible. My hands are clean, so I'm gonna give this a little scrape. Now, you might be tempted to just grab this pan and just whack it, bam, 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 to make sure it's nice and even. Please don't do that. We spent all that time getting the mix all nice and light. We spent a lot of time, mixing it in the mixer for 5 minutes. It's nice and light, it's tall. I mean, you can see here how full this pan is. It's not half full, it's 2/3, maybe 3/4 full. If I start coming in here and just whacking this, all that air is just gonna sink. I'm gonna wipe this a little bit on the side here so it doesn't burn. We have a preheated 350-degree oven. I would check it at 35 minutes. Again, depending on your pan, if you have a light pan that's thin, it's gonna cook faster. Heavy pan like this, usually when I do these, they take about 45 minutes, but I always wanna check it at 35 because I don't wanna overbake it. So in we go. Center of the oven. We're gonna check this in 35 minutes. See you in a bit. So we're gonna pull this out. Look at this. It is above the cake pan. If yours has not risen to this point where it's above the pan, you didn't mix it long enough, you didn't listen. So we're gonna pull this out just a little bit. I'm gonna give it a little shake. Looks like Jell-O, right? That means it needs to go a little bit longer. Actually, I can come in here. I can just touch the top a little bit. It's firm, but it's not set yet, and it's definitely too jiggly. So we're just gonna go ahead and slide that right back in there. We're gonna give it another 10 minutes. All right, we are back. We now have 45 minutes on our Harvey Wallbanger cake. Let's take a look. Been watching it through the glass here. I'm gonna pull it out. Let me grab another mitt here. So I'll give this a little shake. You see, remember before, 10 minutes ago, it was wiggly like Jell-O? You know what, that looks pretty good. It's pretty set. It's got a nice little dark on the side there. Actually, let me pull it out and we'll just look at it up here. Close that up. You can see it's actually, you can't see because I don't have fingers here. I have, Muppet hands. You can see it's a little dry. It's firm. If you are old school and this is how you check cakes, we can do that in here too. Put that in. Came out clean, just a little bit of a crumb. This is a very, very moist cake, so it's always gonna crumb a little bit. Do we pull it out of the pan right now? No, we need to let this sit and rest, cool off a little bit. We're gonna give this 10 to 15 minutes, but what I do, because I know this pan, I'm gonna give this like 5 minutes and I'm gonna come back and you're gonna see I'm gonna shake it a little bit just to try to get it to come away from the sides a little bit because I don't want this to stick. Actually, I can kind of do this a little bit. Actually, come in here with the camera. I can pull this a little bit. You can see how it's, especially over here, it's, I can pull it away from the side a little bit. That's also how we know it's done. So I'm just gonna give it a little pre-help here, just because we wanna make sure that this turns out. This does look kind of lemony, it's nice and light. If we were able to use the orange cake mix, this would be bright orange. Not crazy circus food, chemical orange, but it would be pretty orange. Smells great, looks great. Again, give it about 5 to 10 minutes, give it a little shake, let it sit a good 15 minutes, then we're gonna flip it over and cool it on this rack completely, because you know what, we're not done yet. We're gonna ice this baby. See you in a minute. It's been a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You want this to cool a little bit so it stays together. Now, you're gonna go, hey, that's a different cake. No, it's not. It actually settled a little bit, shrank away from the sides. That's how I know this is gonna come out. That's the other reason why when we looked at it in the oven, it was nice and tall. If your cake is flat with the top of this pan when you're baking it, what's gonna happen when it comes out? It's gonna shrink even further. It's gonna be a little mini cake. So we are gonna grab our mitts, because this pan, again, this nice heavy pan, it is red blazing hot. So I'm gonna see if you can hear this. That's how I know that this is gonna come out well when I go to flip it over. It's released, and I don't have to worry about this cake falling apart, breaking in half, the top is stuck to the bottom, or the bottom stuck to the top. That's physics, that's a different show. This is cake, so. All right, so I got this. Grab our mat, and see if I can do this without burning myself, because again, this is hot. And if I paid off the right people, this should come out okay. Ta-da! A little bit stuck in there, but you know what? We're not done with this yet. After this is cooled, we're gonna put some icing on there. This is another reason why you know this is a homemade cake and not a store-bought cake. Little love on here, and you know what? Hey, I can have a little of that while we're waiting for this to cool. See you in a minute. Hey, we are back and we are about ready to make our icing for our Harvey Wallbanger cake. We let this cool off for a good 2 hours, transferred it over on this nice glass platter thingamabob, whatever you want to call it, and so we can take it over to the party later. But we need to ice it. Simple icing. I've got a cup of powdered sugar, and I actually sifted it to get any of the lumps out. This has been a day of sifting our mixes, sifting our sugar, and I've got just a little bit of regular orange juice, Galliano, and a little of that orange vodka. So just a little bit. I have a habit of, I always make my icings too loose. So we're just gonna dump that in there. I've got a whisk, and I'm just going to whisk this together. This is just a very, very simple icing. I mean, we don't want to get too crazy with doing something with cream cheese or anything like that because we don't want to detract from the flavor of the cake. It's something very unique, and I think it's going to be a big hit any place you take it. So what is powdered sugar? Powdered sugar is got cornstarch in it too, so that's what helps thicken it up. Because again, see how it flows? We don't want it to be too thin because otherwise it'll just, when we put this on the cake, it's just gonna run right off. Just a little bit more. A little on the side here. Good to go. So we're just gonna come over here. It's already on here, it's on our final dish because this is gonna run off the edge just a little bit, so you don't wanna pick this up and try to move it after you've iced it. So I'm just gonna go like this. And gravity is gonna be our friend. It's gonna help bring this icing down. It smells great. You can smell the, first thing you note is Galliano in the air here. Nummy, nummy, num. There we go. A little light on this side, but you know what? That's fine. This is a homemade recipe made with love for your friends and family. If you want your icing a little thinner to spread out more, just a tiny bit more, just a little tiny splash of orange juice would have done it. Again, very rustic, very home style. If we wanted to get really crazy and make this look super, super professional, super show-worthy, put a picture in the paper instead of eating it, we could have put this into a bag with a tip and done it like that, but you know what, we're not gonna do that. What we are gonna do is, we've got some candied orange peel. If you don't wanna work real hard, you can go on the internet, you can buy this just right in a package, keeps practically forever in a refrigerator, or you can make it yourself. It's just simple syrup, you know, peel an orange real thick, don't get any of that white pith on there, and just boil it in simple syrup till it looks like this. So what I'm gonna do is, just for something a little fancy, just for you viewers, I have actually never done it this way before. This is a Foodie Gourmet's first. We're just gonna put a little something on here. And then as the icing dries and hardens, it'll kind of hold all this in place, so when we drive it over to our friend's house, it won't try to move too much on us. But there we go. We are actually all set with this. We're gonna let this dry for a good half an hour before we try to serve it. See you in a bit. All right, I hope you enjoyed our Christmas episode of foodiegourmets.com. Harvey Wallbanger Cake here, one of my family's hand-me-down recipes, probably something none of your friends have ever had. Maybe they've heard of Harvey Wallbanger. Speaking of, since we can't cut into this lovely cake, we have to take it over to the party. I made myself a Harvey Wallbanger just to have a little flavor. It's an ounce of vodka, half an ounce of Galliano, 4 ounces of orange juice, plus or minus depending on your taste. So I've got a little Harvey Wallbanger. Good stuff. So that, I'll just have to be satisfied with that since I can't have some cake. But this is ready to get covered. It's all nice and dry. We'll put this in the car tomorrow and we will have a good party. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.